Hello and welcome to part 2 of my video on the Chinese Sabre or Broadsword, whichever you prefer to use, and the form and how it relates to an invisible scabbard. Now if you haven't watched part 1 you probably wonder what the hell I'm going on about. Basically I watched a video on somebody else's channel which had a man, in my opinion, poorly performing what looks to be a pretty authentic Chinese broadsword form. Now going through the comments I saw a man try to explain to some other people that every time you see the empty hand going out in this form that would be somebody using a scabbard. Now I tried to explain to him why that wasn't the case. There was a long and lengthy argument ensued, so I decided to do a video explaining why I don't think that's the case. It ended up being 2 videos. The first one was the theory, which I think really does take care of it anyway, but I thought I'd do a second one, the practical side of things. I was going to do the form, perform it with and without the scabbard in my hand, just to show that it really doesn't work with the scabbard, but then I thought I'll give this guy the benefit of the doubt. He did specifically say just when the hand goes out in the form that's when you would in theory have a scabbard. So if you haven't seen the first video, I'll post a link in the description. But yeah, what I thought I'd do is I'll pick 2 movements from the form and then show the applications and why it's impractical to be using the scabbard. So the first move I'm going to show is picking a star on the left, and the second one that I'll demonstrate is sweep across 1,000 troops. Now, bearing in mind I haven't really performed the form very well for a long time, so please don't comment on what I'm doing wrong, but I'm just going to show the applications and why using the scabbard isn't practical. To do that I need someone to demonstrate with, so yeah, I think I'm going to have to pester my daughter and help me out. So this is my eldest daughter Briar. She's really happy about being in this video. She loves the fact that we've already done about 6 takes and we've had dogs barking, cars driving past, aeroplanes going overhead. Here comes the aeroplane. Okay, let's carry on. So, I've guilt tripped her into doing this. She's abandoning me to go to uni. At the moment she's really pleased to go to uni. I've switched over to this aluminium sword so I don't accidentally chop her head off. Although she just said at this point she'd rather I did that and get it over with. And yeah, so this is the first application. Picking a star on the left. You're going to get into a fight stance. Should point out, Briar's not really a martial artist. I haven't done weapons in a very long time. I still do a bit of form now and again. The applications we did were more to explain the form, to make it more realistic. It was never about actual sword fighting, but it's good to have the context. Now this first attack is going to be an overhead attack. It wouldn't really be something someone with a spear is going to be doing, but I mean the spear does have an edge to it. It's more of a halberd kind of attack, but I'm using this because it's one of the more fair applications that to use with a scabbard, even though it still doesn't work, but we'll discuss that in a minute. So, Briar Attacks. First thing, I step in. Now this spear would be a hell of a lot longer. Right, it's a short spear, we're quite tall, the distances are going to be like really close. But even so, she's still got that distance on me. So I've got to step in, I divert. First thing I do is reach out and grab. And if I'm doing it true to form, I'd step in again. But this is a shorter spear, so really I don't really need to step in. I just step in for the initial attack, grab, pull and cut through. picking a star on the left, you're picking off the head. Again, so the most important thing here, defend yourself and grab. This is the thing about a spear or polearm. You can grab the shaft. I was trying not to laugh, she's already made several dad jokes about me calling it a shaft. I should call it haft. That won't lead to fits of giggles. And I'm controlling that, I'm pulling in. Now, best case scenario, I cut off her head. Worst case scenario, she lets go. You're not just going to stand there and have your head cut off, are you, Briar? She's going to step back and she's going to try and take out her own sword, and I'll either finish or I've now got a nice spear again. So, yeah, if we do that same technique, but with this in hand, like that guy kind of suggested, what we end up with is like kind of, now Briar is out of range even with this short spear. I could kind of try and attack the hands, or no, you're still going to grab it, or you know, kind of divert this round. Either way, what's going to happen if I try to do that, come in, is, yeah, it's going to withdraw, stab. So, again, come in. It don't really make sense. The other thing obviously being, even if I'm in distance to hit at the head, you know, this, it's not it's not made as a weapon, it's made to carry your sword. So it's not, that's not fight ended. If I was to use this, I mean, it would be very much, and the guy who was arguing with me even used this as an argument, that you're using this to parry, to block, you know, so if I was going to use this, same technique, you know, that's the kind of move I'm going to do. I wasn't off balance there at all. But the form shows quite clearly, sword first, then scabbard. Well, that's not what the form shows. That's what he was arguing. The form clearly shows sword first, then hand. And the reason the hand comes after is because you're grabbing. One of his arguments was that if I put my hand out there, that Briar is going to pay attention.
So is a spider?
You know, that I'm going to get my hand cut, obviously. But the reason it's safe, again, if we do the technique, is that I'm grabbing hold of this. It doesn't, you know, try and cut me. You know, it's not happening. And then, boom. So, scabbard don't make any sense at all.
Please don't say that's videoing.
So for the second technique, we've got sweep across 1,000 troops. So Briar stabs. Again, so sweeping across, grabbing the spear, pulling and cutting. Now again, the spear would be a lot longer, a hell of a lot longer. So you'd be sweeping across, really pulling, and then try to flick out with the blade to cut at the throat. This technique really makes absolutely no sense whatsoever when we introduce our trusty scabbard. So as Briar comes in, I swipe. Now again, I could kind of maybe try and attack the hands, but the spear is going to be a lot longer, the hands aren't really going to be there. Even if they are, as I go to attack, yeah, it's this kind of action. Now in terms of striking with this, coming Briar, so sweep across, there's nothing, that's all arm, there's no body. Yeah, it only makes sense if I grab hold. It's the second part, the second action is to then sink, pull in and cut in. Now best case scenario, I'll get the head. Worst case scenario, so let's go. I've now got my spear, I've got a sword, she's going to try and draw her sword. Job done. No sense whatsoever to use the scabbard. Now again, just want to point out, you know, look at that. this sword, I don't know, it must be, well, it's over 25 years old. I stopped doing Tai Chi when Briar was about 3 years old, so it's been 15 years since I've used it. The handle is disintegrated into my hand. But yeah, so Scabbard, as I pointed out in the last video, Scabbard is there to hold your blade. It would be attached to your waist. Your primary weapon would be your spear or your halberd, your polearm. You really can see how short that spear is. Always check the size of a spear when you order it online. Otherwise you're going to get... I got convinced because it looks really cool. I looked at the measure, I can't remember what the measurement was. I thought, yeah, that sounds long. No. So yeah, you've got your spear. You either, it gets stuck in someone, you damage the blade, you damage the shaft. Well done, bro. She's been giggling like an idiot on all the other takes. Don't know if you can hear that, somebody having a domestic. So this would be attached. The other thing I didn't mention in the other video, I'm going to carry on, can't be bothered anymore, is that archers, I didn't mention in the other video, archers also had these swords, sidearms as a backup. They were the scabbard this way around because of the arrows. And yeah, so you lose your spear, the enemy comes too close if you're an archer. This is a backup weapon. This doesn't detach, it's not, I suppose you could cut it off. There's no point to it, it don't make sense. These techniques obviously can be used against swords, they can be adapted. Because there is the argument that, well, what about palace guards or city guards or whatever, so I'll give Briar a nice sharp sword. Just hold it, don't move it. And at this point you probably just hold it out as if you've sort of like chopped. So obviously I can grab the hand, I can cut. This wouldn't really be a two-handed sword.
I just didn't want to drop it.
Yeah, alright, well yeah, do it again, so hold it out. You can do it with both hands you've got. So, but the other thing is, like, as I grab, you can really feel that biting into this aluminium sword. As I go, the most likely thing Briar's going to do is die at this point because she's an idiot. So, hold out the sword again. So, I've blocked it, I've grabbed, I'm coming in to strike. What's the most likely thing you're going to do?
Let go of the sword?
No, because I've got hold of your hand, Briar.
Oh!
Hey! We've learned in this situation the most likely thing that Briar would do is to die horribly. Anyone else with half a brain cell, of course, would and then we're into this kind of binding kind of stuff that we see all in HEMA and any other art where they try and use the sword fighting. It really is eating chunks out of the sword. But yeah, that was my argument the whole time. The bind exists. Like, you want to get close with the spear, really, against another sword. You want to kind of fight to your, well, unless you're good in the bind, I guess. But that's it. Yeah, scabbard, fighting with the scabbard. Don't make any sense. Has it never happened? I'm not saying that. Yeah, it probably has happened at some point. Someone probably has had it there, used it to deflect. But it wouldn't be, saying that whenever the hand goes out, it would be a scabbard in it. Just doesn't make sense, really. Briar can tell that, and she don't even know that she wants to stop a sword coming towards her head.
At this point, I don't.
Just welcoming it, just ending now. Right, thanks for watching. Briar won't be here next time, she's off to uni. think she's glad about that. As you come in, I've got ample time. Just stab my own finger. So if I'm here, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, lunge.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to lose a titty, Dad.
Just
Calm down.
This isn't. If you use the spear, point it forward, like as if you're gonna fight. Step back a little bit. So right on your, yeah, there. So where? Take 5. So he's attack. That's totally wrong technique. Take 2. So in conclusion, I know a lot of you are going to be thinking, "Come on, mate. 2 videos responding to a guy talking about invisible scabbard." And there is more to it than that. But yeah, I think when you have an argument in a comment section, you know, the nuance gets lost, and it's very easy to ignore points made. If it's a reply more than a few sentences, you know, if you read the first couple of sentences, you will kind of ignore the rest of what's being written and just focus, you know, on the start, and that's it. I'm just as guilty as anyone else of that, so I thought I'll do these videos. I'm going to post them on that thread. Will he watch it? Will he listen to any of the points I've made? Doubt it, but it's going to be put out there. Now, the other part of it, I've been wanting to do a video about, you know, Sabre versus spear for a while, because I've seen some videos, some HEMA videos recently where they've been, you know, kind of spear versus sword, and in one video in particular I saw a lot of people trying to, you know, close the distance, and were getting totally stabbed up by the spear guy, and there's only one person that like kind of grabbed hold of the spear, and I kind of want to show, you know, how my system, the solutions that they came up for against the spear. I think I've kind of done that, and also it's just, you know, a fun thing to do with my daughter, making memory for me before she leaves for uni. And you know, one last point is that I think it also demonstrates the weakness in a lot of people's forms. You know, if you don't understand the fighting principles behind the techniques that you're trying to demonstrate, I think it all ends up a bit wishy-washy. You know, if you want a decent form, if you want your form to look good, you need to understand what those movements are actually for. I think my next video is going to be along similar lines, and yeah, seeing as how we got dogs barking, I think I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Say bye, Briar.
Bye, Briar.
That was an obvious joke. You shouldn't even laugh at that. That's just awful. But I'm ashamed. I might disown you. I'm glad you go out of uni. Catch you soon.
I had to.